The basic question here is, how would you work to increase police presence in apartment buildings in particular, between the 3rd and 4th Street area, where it appears that the apartments are drug infested, to use the direct quote here, and also how that activity is pushing out local businesses?
Well, my experience of the neighborhoods around the 1st District is that problems like this, they vary block to block. And when there is efforts to resolve a particular problem, oftentimes it just moves it around. But I would support certainly any specific efforts from neighborhoods. The Neighborhood Watch program leaders would identify these problem areas, and we would certainly work to resolve those situations. There is a program that's in the works. It's called Better Landlords, Better Tenants, and this wasn't my idea, but it is moving forward, and it's going through approvals in City Hall now. And basically, it's some guidelines that are based on behavior. If there are certain behaviors in a certain building, then the landlords would be responsible for curtailing those behaviors. And if they're not, then there's certain steps that the city would take to put pressure on the landlords to resolve these problems. And the other side of it is some qualifying information for tenants, so landlords would have a better idea before they rent to somebody if that person, that party has a history of problems. So I would definitely support that Better Landlords, Better Tenants program.
Well, I wondered how long it would take to get this question. What remedies do you have for parking problem in the 1st District? How about that?
Well, this may be the one issue that we all agree on, because it's definitely a problem. Although I will say, 15 years ago, I could always find a parking place right in front of my house. So something's changed during that time, and I do believe that City Hall policies have led to overcrowding, especially in the 1st District. I don't hear this being a problem in other more affluent areas. I think there's a lot of people crammed in here, and so we need to do everything that we can to identify red curbs that could maybe be painted over, or follow the lead of the 2nd District, where they've been had some very successful programs that Robert alluded to, utilizing business lots in the evenings and things like that. So I don't think I have a whole lot more to add to anything that other people are going to say about that.
Well, most of you have stayed in tune and up to date on a proposed land swap, actually the land swap for the wetlands, and so this question has to do with that. Specifically, how do you feel about the land swap when the 1st District wasn't represented on the council yet?
Well, I too care very deeply about restoring balance to nature and the ocean in particular. I remember as a kid finding live sand dollars and sea hares in Alamedas Bay. And of course you go there now and it's pretty devoid of much of the sea life that was once there. And that really saddens me. However, with this land swap deal, I think there's a lot that hasn't been said, and that does concern me. This deal is not coming back to council for review. It's on its way. Whatever happens, we're going to have to deal with it. And I think the council should have showed a little more responsibility and voted to have that at least come back before the council before that deal is finally done. I have questions about, who gains from this, who works for who. There's a moving cost of moving this public service yard of $500,000, which could fix a lot of streets and sidewalks. It may get into the negotiations or it may not. We don't know. So it's kind of like a taxpayers versus a developers thing here, and I think we should certainly know more about what's going on. And the other thing is, we don't know what we're getting up here in the 1st District. It's up to Tom Dean. As long as he meets code, he can do whatever he wants. So I've got some questions about that too. Aside from all the financial aspects of this, it's a lot of money that we're talking about here, and these are tough times, so we need to be very careful. So it's a tough call.
Thank you. This next question goes to scheduled pay increases for the police department, and I have to tell you that I'm not aware of this, and I don't know if the candidates are or not, but I'll ask the question just the same. Long Beach police officers are scheduled for a raise this fall. Will you vote for that? Okay.
Well, my understanding is that there is a scheduled pay raise that was written into the previous contract, but it does come before council for approval. So I'm the independent candidate here who's not pledged to support any unions. So I would make the hard choices and do everything I can to ask all of our city employees to share in the burdens of these tough economic times. Thanks. Well, thank you again for having me here. My vision for a sustainable Long Beach includes riding our bikes to jobs that pay good wages and growing healthy food in our yards and in community green spaces, and spending our discretionary income in local shops and restaurants. Government policies should promote clean air, water, and beaches, location-appropriate development, architecture and landscaping, and thriving arts and music in the community. This will encourage people and businesses to want to stay here, and I know we can do better. Now, the six of us here have much in common. However, the ideological differences are becoming clear, and our alliances are becoming public. And there are big differences in how we approach our candidacy that provide clues to how we'll behave on the City Council. So we must ask ourselves, which candidate will really make City Hall more responsive? Which candidate will stand up against the City Hall status quo and take issue with the fact that 1 in 10 city employees make over $100,000 a year? We can't let our own government take away the resources we need to improve the quality of life in our neighborhood. So you're all welcome to come over to my house anytime. Just call first, please. And we'll talk about the issues. And I also have some office hours over at Zephyr Restaurant in the East Village on 4th Street from 5 to 6 p.m. every Friday. So come join me for an organic beer or a cup of fair trade coffee and maybe some healthy food, and we'll talk about the issues. And please also check out my website at barrybest4lb.com. That's the number 4. And just want to close by saying you can trust me to make decisions that are consistent with my ideologies, not situation-dependent, self-serving, political career decisions. Thank you.